When it just makes sense. When it just makes sense. Brown girl. It's your red pill. Searching for the truth. Searching for the truth. Brown girl. It's your red pill. Oh, when it just makes sense. Oh, when it just makes sense. Brown girl. It's your red pill. And get into the truth. And get into the truth. Brown girl. It's your red pill.
Okay, so I know I've been off the scene. Y'all, things have been crazy. The year 2024 has been lit. I have enjoyed this year. This year was the first year that I started this podcast. So it's only been a year, you guys, and it's been crazy. I want to thank you guys on the final day of the year. Okay, so today is my anniversary, but I'm taking time to come and say thank you for following me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Without you guys listening, I would not have a voice, so I'm so grateful. But I did want to get up here on the last day of the year because I got some stuff that I need to talk to you guys about, like seriously. And then we'll talk later. We'll talk next year. We'll talk next year. But this year, before all the opinions, continue to come out, I had to come and back up my folks, okay? MAGA, I don't know if y'all know, we won the election, okay? The Make America Great Again. We won the election, right? So that tells you that there is more of us than them, right? So, period, full stop. MAGA, we have a presence, we have issues, and we put a mandate on this administration, and now they trying to flip the script. And I wanted to make sure that I come over here and get my opinion out, you guys, before anything. What'd you say, honey? I'm not? Oh my gosh. I should be. Oh my God, YouTube. What you doing? I tried, babe. It ain't doing it. Y'all, I'm not going to deal with these issues. I'm not going to deal with these issues. Okay. Anyway, anywho, so YouTube, it's just gonna be X and TikTok today and Rumble. I'm live on Rumble. Anyway, you guys, but I had to get on here and defend my people. Okay, MAGA, y'all my folks. Okay, y'all are my peoples, and people are really trying to come for y'all, and I don't like it. I got an attitude because they trying to come for the white MAGAs, right? Elon Musk came out with the dark MAGA. Y'all, I don't even think I like it no more. We thought it was cute at one point in time, but he was being divisive then. It's dark MAGA. No, we're MAGA. We're red MAGA. We all bleed red. We're MAGA, okay? We are the Make America Great Again, folks. Well, you cannot make America great again without Americans. Elon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. America is a melting pot. We love our immigrants. Y'all, I would not be American if it wasn't for immigration. So I'm thankful. I already told you, my mama is an immigrant, okay? So I'm thankful for immigration. However, with that being said, we have to place a premium and a focus on our own household. You guys, I would not be a good mom if I focused on the neighbor's kids and tried to give them a good opportunity because my kids suck. My kids suck. They don't really have the know-how. You know, they're not as smart as the neighbor's kids, so let me go invest over in the neighbor's kid. Like, there's just no functioning society that is going to be successful like that. And so MAGA is talking to their leadership and saying, hey, we don't really feel there's a need or a demand to expand the visa program, right? Like, to expand it. It's already there. So with that being said, we allow immigrants to come in, right? Like, we allow them to come in. We allow top talent to come in. I'm grateful that we do that, right? However, expanding it at this point in time where we have the amount of illegal immigration that's going on, the massive amount of like deportation efforts that we're going to have to undergo in 2025. Like, I don't think MAGA is being racist for saying, hey, I don't really want us to bring in more H1B visas. Like, I don't think that that's racist. And people have pushed the white MAGAs so far, you guys, like, that people are saying, okay, Americans don't have the know-how. That was my biggest issue with Vivek. That was my biggest issue. And I like Vivek. I really do. But when he was talking to Tucker, he said things like, oh, there's a reason why we don't build things here and we build it in Taiwan because Americans don't really have the know-how. Skirt. What? What do you mean we don't have the know-how? It is our technology. Like, you guys replicate it. Y'all duplicate. But we are imitated across the world. But make no mistake about it, the Americans have innovated and created those things. Like, it just bothers me so much that other countries are like, the audacity is like, oh, you guys need to focus on top talent everywhere around the world. First of all, top talent is here. Second of all, we do focus on, that's why we even have the immigration program that we have. So we allow it. We're just saying that right now, that ain't really our priority. We ain't really focused on it. We should focus on some of the people here. I feel like, hold on. I'm going to go over Pat Bet David's take on this because I think it's really, really important what he said. And it's very interesting that this is causing infighting, and it really shouldn't cause any infighting. Like, I feel like if you're on the side of America and you're on the side of MAGA, then you care about Americans, right? Like, people who are born here, people who have an American passport, like, you should. And that should be your first priority. And helping other people across the world, okay, we'll get it. We'll get there. Y'all check this out. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Vivek's tweet that I retweeted, and I got community notes. I want to show the whole thing for the audience to see what happened the last couple of days. But first, go to his tweet. So Vivek posts this tweet. If you go under my account, you'll see. Keep going down, 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 right there. Go to his tweet first, and then you'll come back to mine. Let me read this to you. This upset a lot of people, but let's process it. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and we're really serious about fixing a problem. We have to confront the truth. American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. That upset a lot of people. But he's not wrong, is the question. Is he wrong with that statement?
He's okay, here's the thing. It's not a right or wrong, right? For me, as an American, it's not a right or wrong. It is offensive. It's not like, if I go to somebody's house, right? And I come to their house and they say, hey, can I have something to eat? And I give them some food. because they came to my house and asked me for some food. And then they say, you know what? This food is not really good. It just doesn't taste good. Like the way you cook it is just not right. You're in my house and you ask me for some food. So it's not a right or wrong with what Vivek is saying. It's rude. It is very rude, okay? It is. I'm sorry. Like, your parents and your culture and immigrants have benefited from what we have allowed over here. And instead of you guys acknowledging that, yeah, you might not like the American culture and you work to shift it, you want to just replace and bring more immigrants to change the culture, as opposed to changing the culture through influence and letting people, know, like, hey, our culture should do this or our culture should do that. Like, you shouldn't be trying to do this by bringing in top talent from the world because it has a better culture than you. Like, that is so freaking offensive. Like, it's so annoying. It really is. And this was my major problem with Vivek. It really was. Like, I like Vivek and I really want to like him. But how dare you come into America and talk about, oh, the culture over in India is better. Okay, well then how about you go back to India, you and your family, and you take your culture there and you try to make what happens over in America over there. We're not saying that we don't have problems. Americans do have problems, but I can tell you what, this world will be a bit bigger and better place if we had 1 billion Americans. We got 1 billion Indians and ain't nobody creating nothing. Y'all got to come over here. Put some respect on America. Like, seriously. And that's not racist, you guys. It is very offensive to come over here and say, oh, well, you celebrate the prom queen over the mathematician. Okay, fine. But you're saying it like, in what type of way? Yeah, we acknowledge that we like beauty and we like fashion and we like culture and we like all of those things. But nobody is saying that the engineer is not celebrated just because it's like he's using entertainment in TV shows. And I understand what he's saying, but ultimately, y'all are only able to come over here and build and do what you do because Americans do value engineers and serious jobs and work ethic. Americans, especially white Americans, MAGA white Americans, are some of the nicest, hardworking people on the freaking planet. And how dare you come over here under the freedom that they have provided for you and then be critical? I don't like it. I'm sorry, because I just don't like it. And I know he probably did not mean it. And I know MAGA is pissed and they are coming vitriol. But I get it. I kind of get it. I really do. Keep going.
Not wrong. Okay, let's continue. Culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zack and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash. He continues to go, and then most normal Americans' parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grew up aspiring to normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s who raised their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut in the hyper-competitive market. He continues to go, Rob, if you can go, you're right there. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work culture we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in a victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. Look at the amount of views this tweet gets.
Yeah.
115 million views a tweet. Now go to my response, which upset a lot of people. If you can go back. So I said the following. I said, as an immigrant from Iran, I saw this as an edge. I didn't mind working 80 hours a week. I didn't mind the competition. All I wanted was a shot. This used to be the American way. Time to return to it. Take a minute to read it. By the way, when I say working 80 hours a week, I worked 80 hours a week. In my 20s and 30s, I worked 80 hours a week, and I had no problem doing it. I'm on the road 6 months out of the year. When you're on the road 6 months out of the year building a national insurance agency, it's very tough. And by the way, you're building an insurance company regulated in 50 states, high volume recruiting. We go from 66 agents to 60,000 insurance agents, dealing with every department of insurance that's led and typically ran by somebody who is a liberal. Think about they don't like people like us, is what we have to deal with. But then this prompted people to get upset and say a bunch of different things. If you go back up, Rob, up top, I said something about, on another tweet, I said something about, what's your biggest, I don't know, go back above that right there, the one right above it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, Rob, keep going a little bit higher. I think this is the one. This lady says, kindly go a little lower. Working 80 hours a week is not a healthy role model. No problem. Quite frankly, you choose your role models for you and your kids, which is your job as a parent. Whoever you edify, it is what it is. And I said, respectfully, both the app and the phone you're using were built by a founder and executive team that worked 80 hours a week for many years. Also, our founding fathers worked very hard, and I put 80 hours a week, and the community note says we don't know if they worked 80 hours a week or not. You just have to realize they worked a lot more than 80 hours a week. These guys are trying to survive, is what they're trying to do. By the way, so then while we're doing this, me and the research team go a little bit deeper into this. And these are some of the numbers that comes up, okay, when you think about what America goes through. If I was to ask you, right, and I asked you guys these questions yesterday, so I don't want to ask you guys, but I asked the audience, what percentage of startup billion-dollar company founders do you think were immigrants? Let me ask you one more time. What percentage of billion-dollar startups do you think the founder was an immigrant? Okay, I'll let you think about it for a second. 5%? 10%? So these are guys that start a company and it becomes a billion-dollar company. Do you know the number to this? Were you in the room when we talked about it?
I was not. No.
Okay. The number isn't 10%, not 20%, not 30%. Rob, if you want to pull this up, 55% of America's billion-dollar startups have an immigrant founder. Why? Now, here's what some people will say. They'll say the H1B Visa takes job away from Americans. But anybody can start a company. Founding a company doesn't have to be an immigrant to do it. Somebody that's born in America can do it. So why are so many startup founders immigrants? Then we're going to look at...
Okay. You guys, I have way too much respect for PVD to disrespect him. Like, I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I have way too much. Certain people, you just don't say anything, right? Because I got way too much respect. What I will say is MAGA, Make America Great Again, Black folks, white folks. This is our time to work. This is our time to put in the work and the hours and to show what we can do. These people have come into our home and literally walking around the place and saying, you guys, like, I'm just gonna like outwork you guys and outdo you guys, and you're just gonna have to be okay with it because our culture is better than yours. It's hurtful. It really is. And I understand how MAGA and Americans and white Americans and Black Americans are feeling. You came to our house. You're able to do these things because we allowed you. And instead of you wanting to partner and engage, you make a big stink about bringing more people over. That is offensive in any way that you slice it. It's offensive. And for Vivek and others, and I to not understand how, like, you have offended Americans, and it's not cool. It's not okay. Now, what I will say is Americans, this is our time, you guys. I was telling my husband, and I was at Costco one day, and it was pouring down raining, you guys. It was like pouring down raining. Not Costco, sorry. I was at Sam's Club. And it was pouring down raining, and I had an umbrella, and I was walking to my car, and I'm trying to like put my stuff in the car, and this lady who is an immigrant, she's from Africa, she came and she said, "Miss," in an African accent, "do you want to buy my book?" And I looked at her. It's pouring down raining. It's pouring down raining. And she wants to know that if I, in the rain, want to buy her book. She didn't care that I was busy. She didn't care that it was raining. She just was hustling. She wanted to make it happen, and she didn't care what I thought. And I called my husband, and this is before this whole conversation came up. This was like a couple of months ago. And I said to my husband, I said, our kids are screwed unless we do something, because these immigrants are coming and they're going to outwork the crap out of us if we don't get it together. And it's just simple things like that. Americans being aware of what your competition is, being aware, talking to your children, getting things back together like work ethic and drive and all of those things, having those conversations that 80 hours is sometimes what you have to do in order to get things off the ground. We know this. We taught other countries how to do this. We built this place, okay? Like Americans, true Americans knew what knew what hard work is and drive and work ethic. They come over here with our ideals, and they come over here with our rules, and so Vivek bringing up TV shows and entertainment is not making any kind of point, as much as, hey, maybe we do need to start to look at some of the things in our culture that we're selling to our kids. But it doesn't mean that that is the majority of Americans. And it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we just start to replace Americans that way. Like that, I denounce that. It makes me upset. It makes me like, it really is hurtful that we are even having this conversation with people that we were so gracious to give an opportunity to live in our country. I mean, seriously, I like Elon Musk. I have way too much respect for him to disrespect him. However, South Africa didn't give you the opportunity. We did. And so put some respect on it. Like, put some respect on it. Like Vivek, your parents are Indian. You have 1 billion Indians over in India. And you can't do what you did over in India. So you have to put some respect on our land. It's a little disrespectful. Like, hold on, guys. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. And PBD did let Tom talk about it. And Tom, I think, gave a really good explanation. Let me go back to that because this is really important. Hold on.
72% of recipients were from India, followed by China 12% and the Philippines 1%. The program does not provide a path to permanent residency as it grants only non-immigrant status. Tom, your thoughts on what's going on here with the H1B visa debate?
So there's a lot of angles here, a lot of angles to go. And so the first angle that I'm going to go with is, I like to say if you want to look at a problem, you got to go upstream a little bit, right? I talk about the polluted lake. Liberals want to build a $1 billion filter. Conservatives want to go upstream and say, hey, what are the creeks and rivers putting in the lake? And then stop it upstream, and it's an easy way to the problem. The first thing that I think nobody was talking about over the weekend, and I think we should talk about it for a minute, is you got to go upstream. What is happening? Why aren't there? Now, some people say there's plenty, and I saw that argument. Some people say there wasn't enough of American engineering graduates. Now, why wouldn't there be enough American engineering graduates? Well, why can't they get out and get into top schools? Interesting. Well, why can't they get into top schools? Well, let's look back to the Department of Justice, DOJ. That's our government, folks. That was under Biden, folks. Went after Yale University after a massive lawsuit was filed by a group of Asian families who said, we've been discriminated against for admissions in favor of other people of many colors. Yeah. And they were upset. And the Department of Justice looked at it and said, wait a minute. And the Asian suit had tons of facts and figures and some discovery things that they had found. So the U.S. Department of Justice looks into it and goes, and went after Yale. So the U.S. Department of Justice filed a suit against Yale admissions, and all the discovery showed absolutely not opinion here. They were discriminating against whites and Asians that were American citizens in favor of people of many colors, particularly foreigners that maybe didn't have the same scores as some of these whites and Asians in the United States, because the foreign people most often were paying full boat. What's full boat? Paying full price. What's full price? They weren't getting financial aid because they were wealthy people from around the world. So guess what? If you don't give them financial aid, what gets bigger? Your endowment, because you don't have to give financial aid or small scholarships based on merit. So you see how that ecosystem works? So the schools discriminating against, so now what does that mean? Well, now there's a shortage of U.S. citizen, and not just white and Asian engineers, because it wasn't just happening in Yale, it's happened at other places. So the supply is down because schools have been discriminating against U.S. citizen, so now the supply is down. That is a fact, absolute fact, including and discovery brought by U.S. Department of Justice. Now then, you go into part two.
That's so important. While I do believe that culture is, but I do believe that there is active discrimination against white Americans. And I don't care what you guys say. Like, the blacks get mad when I say, white people are being discriminated against. When we were getting discriminated against, there were white people that spoke up. There were abolitionists that spoke up against slavery and Jim Crow. So unless you want the pendulum to swing back to that, how about we just say no discrimination, period? It's not okay to discriminate against anybody. So the fact that they're discriminating against white people and even Asians that are trying to get in these Ivy League schools, I've already done a video on it, you guys. I don't believe in affirmative action at all. The best person with the best talent should go. And the fact that they're trying to do this so immigrants come over with money and get educated in our schools on our visa, it's not cool. It's not cool. And then they come and tell us that we're lazy. Like, this is what we're breeding, you guys. Keep going.
Okay, well, that doesn't mean that H1Bs are innocent. They're not. I looked at it up, and H1Bs, they do underpay often. They do lock up a person with their sponsor, so it's very hard to change jobs. Let's say you get an H1B, Benny, and you do a really good job for 2 years, and you're having lunch at a place, and a recruiter talks to you and says, hey, why don't you come work over here? And you say, well, I really can't. I got the H1B, and it's really complicated to change jobs with a sponsor. I'm kind of locked in. It's hard to change jobs, and I don't want to make any fuss because I don't want my sponsor to decide maybe they don't need me, except they lay me off, riff, rejection, and forth. I only have days, otherwise I have to leave the country because I no longer have a visa. So it does get abused. And there's this whole lottery with it that some people say, wink, wink, is subject to lobbying. And who would be paying big lobbying into the liberal government? Big tech. So could one of the things they want be, have the lottery point more toward me? So the H1Bs do get used, in a way that's kind of abusive. That's my second point. And then my third point is that it is truly bad if the companies are using them with ill intent and they're not taking available American workers. But I think the schools are guilty. I think some companies are guilty for abuse of the program. I think the schools are guilty for not giving us more Americans with engineering degrees. And I think a lot of people third point, are missing the point that there has been a tremendous amount of people who are immigrants to this country that have built amazing new businesses. And so you can't just say, oh, it's a bunch of cheap labor getting jobs. No, that's not true. people like Elon Musk have built things. So I think there's a lot of reform that's needed. But those are my 3 points.
We'll be on this topic for a while. Rob, can you pull up Vivek's tweet?
Yeah, Sue, I think Tom did a really good job of breaking it down. It is abused. They do pay immigrants or people who are on visas way less than Americans. And I'm not sure in a free market that's something that I want the government to control. I don't. What I desperately, you guys, and call me an idealistic type person, call me that. But Americans, we have got to wake up. We've got to get smarter. Even smarter about the way that we live. Some of the things that I notice that people, immigrants that come over here, they live with several people to keep their, costs low so they can get paid, $50,000 less in an entry level position because they don't have the expenses that we have. They stay home longer. They stay with family longer. We were taught to get out on your own. After you're 18, you go to college. At 22, maybe those are some things that we can learn about this market, that we are just going to have to start to compete smarter, take lesser pay, if that's what we have to do initially until we can take and grab hold of our country back. Like, I don't believe in being a victim. I don't believe in crying and whining about it. I do believe in solutions. So I don't know how we fix it, other than saying, okay, if that's the game y'all want to play, if that's the game that y'all want to play, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to build my business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take an entry level job. And I believe Americans have been doing that. I really do. It's not right. Some things are not right. And they're not fair. They just are. Okay? Like, they just are. And so I believe that, with that being said, I don't think that that's racist to say that the jobs in a country should be reserved for its citizens. I don't believe that it's racist or mean to say that we should prioritize the people who live here and who have a passport or who have a birth certificate from here. Like I made the analogy earlier, like I can't say, oh, I'm going to invest in the neighbor's kids because the neighbor's kids are just smarter than mine. Like they just are more talented. They're more disciplined. Their culture is better over there. So instead of investing in my children, I'm just going to do the neighbor's children because they're smarter. Like that's offensive. And it really, really, just the very thought of it makes me angry. And if this conversation is to be had, it needs to be had amongst us Americans. I don't need a snobby Vivek Ramaswamy telling us about our culture. Like, I don't. I just don't. I'm sorry. He married an Indian. He's married. His kids are both Indian. His parents are both Indian. And that should just kind of tell you what he is. He can put an American flag all he wants to on his stuff. But that type of communication and saying those types of things and not understanding how offensive and how hurtful it is for people who have embraced you, funny name and all, allowed you to get to the upper echelons of our society and community, for you to just turn around and just say, sorry, I'm sorry, your culture, it just sucks. Screw you. And that's all I have to say about that. Screw you, Vivek. I should have known something like, I knew something. I ain't like something about that Vivek. I knew I ain't like something about that Vivek, y'all. I'm sorry. Anywho, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a happy new year. We are going to catch up talking about my girl, Candace Owens and Amanda Seales. Oh my God. Shout out to Jimmy Carter and his family. I know, well, he's passed away, but his family, God bless them. What else has been going on, you guys? Um, what else has been going on? It's been so much, you guys. It's been so much. Oh, I never got a chance to tell y'all about how I felt about that Caitlin Clark girl. Caitlin's always been a liberal, y'all. Like, I don't know. We started MAGA started liking her because she was being bullied, or we felt like she was being bullied. But Caitlin Clark, if you follow her, you should immediately know that like she's a total liberal. So like when she kind of came out and said, "Oh, I stand on the backs of African Americans that have paved the way." Like that's so liberal. Like that's about white. She's a white liberal. Like she's the caucasity audacity. I mean, like that's just what she does. I like her. I like the way she plays ball. I mean, but I followed her for like a week. I followed Caitlin Clark for a week, and I was like, she's a liberal, not interested. Y'all, Anywho, you guys, there was so much going on. There's going to be so much going on in the new year. I'm so grateful to God that you guys watch me. I'm so grateful to God that you comment. I read your comments. I appreciate you guys. God bless America. Americans, we need to start to really stick together. I'm telling you, black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, like we need to stick together because they coming for us. These billion Indians is coming for us. These billion Chinese people are coming for us. And we need to be ready, okay? We got to get it together. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Enjoy your new year. I will see you guys next year. God bless. Peace.